Hey guys, welcome to the Livewell, brought to you by Digital Sportsman, where we get together with our community and talk fishing. The show's fixing to start, we're getting everything ready. But in the meantime, we want to tell you about our fine partners that not only make this show possible, but are companies that we absolutely love and stand behind. Groove Fishing, changing the norm of tackle storage. Sonar Pros, specializing in high-end installations across all electronic brands. Go where the pros go. Lipsticker Fishing, specializing in putting clients on giant lake linear bass. Bill Payne's Guide Service, fish with a legend on Lake Allatoona, seasonal smallmouth trips, or even get your sonar dialed in. Brooks Anderson Fishing, guide trips and educating today's anglers on Lake Lanier. Big League Charters, fish with a pro on Tellico, Fort Loudon, Watts Bar, and Chickamauga. Money Saver Lure Retriever, designed to break your lure free from almost any snag. Fishers of Hope, benefit fishing tournaments to help people in need. Serve IT, industry-leading IT services for your business. Change the way you manage IT. Turner Tire, Jasper, Georgia's most trusted family-owned tire center. Atlanta Safe House, the trusted source for safes and gun safes in Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, and Alabama. And of course, Digital Sportsman, a new way to discover and book unforgettable outdoor experiences with local trusted guides. Go to fngo.com to get direct links to all our fine partners. Get ready, and let's talk fishing.
Hey, welcome in. It's the Tuesday night episode of the Livewell. We got a good show for y'all tonight. It's a little bit different doing this. I'll be honest, being on the show, working the boards and now doing this with working the boards and running the camera, this is a lot different, guys. So kudos to Danny for pulling this off every day. He does it because I'll be honest with you, I'm almost like a little bit lost here. So we got a great show. We got Alex down here. We got Clint. We've got Mick Guthrie and Ryan Hanks from Cast. It is going to be a great show. I'm going to tell you, if you don't know these two guys from Cast, you need to research them, look into them. They have got a great story, and I cannot wait for y'all to hear it. So bring the questions, bring the comments. They're a wealth of information with what they do and what they've got going on. So, guys, how are y'all doing tonight?
Doing good.
Yeah, really well.
Good. So we're going to start off with a little bit of business down at the bottom real quick. I almost forgot about it. Toys for Tots, December 6th. Across the ticker, it'll be going the whole show. Make sure if you want to fish that tournament, it's out of Laurel Park. It's a great tournament. We had a huge turnout last year. They're wanting to get, a lot more boats this year. If y'all can do it, guaranteed first place, $5,000, and then bring one unwrapped toy. And then I think I looked at their thing today. It's like they want you to bring a $20 toy, no Matchbox cars, that kind of stuff. So y'all make sure you do that. And while we're talking about fishing tournaments, I got the chance to fish with Danny over the weekend at the Fishers of Hope deal. If y'all get a chance, go out and support those guys because they do a great job. It was one of the most fun tournaments I've fished in a long time. No pressure deal. It was just fun. Got to meet a lot of the guys, and I really enjoyed it. So I want to tell everybody thank you for that.
Give us a tourney recap. We need
a
tourney recap.
Fog. That's the recap. Fog. It was thick. And I've gotten a little gun shy about running in the fog. So I told Danny up front, I was like, look, we're just going to, troll or idle wherever we're going to go to first. And it didn't live till like 10 o'clock. But I'll be honest with you, it was tough on me at first. Danny had the chicken rig out. We put him on some fish. He got a couple pretty quick. I'll drop a video later this week, I think. And my bite didn't start till later in the day, and I was chasing schooling fish or bait balls with the Cast Echo, and that's what they every one of them, whether it was on a dock or out in the middle of anywhere, that's where I got bit at with it, and I was really happy about that. Really happy to see it, and it was weird because I tried a few other different baits, minnow style baits. They wouldn't touch it. It took the Cast Echo to get it done, and I was really happy to see that. So.
Yeah, it's cool. You got to go up to Blue Ridge, man. That's probably one of my favorite lakes to fish. Me and my buddy Franco have probably fished that lake over 50 times, man. And it doesn't get a lot of people don't talk about that lake, especially since it's really been taken over by spotted bass. There's still some big meanmouth in there. There was actually, I think, close to a 6-pound spot caught this year earlier there, which is pretty cool to see. But it's a special place, man. That's the best place I've ever thrown a glide bait, and also offshore for smallmouth back in the day. So I've had my best day bass fishing ever on that lake. Me and Franco had like 18 or 19 pounds of smallmouth in the morning, and in the afternoon we had close to 22 pounds largemouth on a glide bait. This is like February, March. It's a special place to me. It's super cool up there. I like it a lot.
So Robert Blowski actually came down and fished. He fished solo, and he never left the marina boat dock area, and ended up with a little over 15 in his large. He also won he got third place and big fish with a spot that was 519, I think it was, something like that.
They're getting bigger. And I'll tell you too, because I've walked down there before. I met a customer one time to show him actually a cast prodigy. We walked down to the docks. There's some giant largemouth in that marina. I just don't know if they let you fish in that area. I think they have it kind of blocked. You can fish around it, but like I know they wouldn't let us fish there. But just walking in the slips the time of year, there's some giants in there.
So the marina let us put in down there. They let us use their ramp to put in on. And then I think Dave and Ken, that's where they fish. They caught 12 pounds underneath those slips right there. Never even left the slip. So, and of course, I think it was a couple of shows back. Danny asked me what, top 5 bait or 4 baits for November. And first one I said was a walk-in topwater. Do you think I threw a walk-in topwater? No. I went to a flat trying to catch fish. Rob used a walk-in topwater and limited out in 10 minutes. So but I didn't know the lake at all. I had no idea where I was going. I mean, it was one of those, like, let me just go find a flat over here near deep water and work it that way. And it worked, but it wasn't the most productive.
It's a special place, man. That's the first place I ever caught a smallmouth. And I don't know how many years ago when the Duo Realis spy bait, the G-Fix 80, absolutely lethal on that lake. Wow. And it's a cool place though. But glad you got to go up there and fish that tournament, man. It's a cool spot.
It is a cool spot. And honestly, I was telling somebody the other day, it's not from where I live at. I live in West Georgia. It's a 2 hour and 15-minute drive to there. It's a 2 hour drive to Lanier for me. So it's like I could pick either one and I'm within the same amount of driving distance, no matter what. So it may be somewhere I start visiting a lot more of the North Georgia lakes than I do most of the time during the year. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Hey, everybody in the comments, appreciate y'all stopping by. Doc Holliday, Justin Ortiz, Doug Rice, Tony Watkins, Coleman Jones, guys, welcome in. Appreciate y'all stopping by. I'm going to try to keep up with comments, y'all, because I'll be honest with you. We got a new member, Clint Picari. Good deal. Appreciate that, Clint. Tony Watkins, thank you for coming. Oh, sorry, guys. My friend, love to have y'all back when we get another one. Great event. Matthew was beyond happy. Yeah, Matthew was a great kid. It was super nice to meet him. Super, super nice kid. So, Tyler, what's going on? So we're going to get started real quick. I know we were reminiscing about Blue Ridge, and it's a lot of fun. If you guys get to go fish it, do that. But we've got the guy from the cast here again. Guys, thank you so much for coming by. I got a chance to watch some podcasts today. I think I've watched every cast video just to make sure I had not missed any of them. I even watched some of them that I've already seen multiple times. I watched them again just to make sure I could see some of that stuff. And I know we talk about cast on the show, Ryan. We talked about this down at iCast. We talk about it so much on the show, but folks in the comments, if you're listening to the show, I'm telling you, try the braid. Try it.
We get a lot of that, and I appreciate it. I mean, that means a lot. I grew up here. I grew up in Georgia, even though I live in Florida now. So, like, the support that we receive from you guys is really, really cool. And at the end of the day, I mean, Mick's going to talk a lot and tell you guys, like, our goal is we just want people to catch fish and have fun and enjoy it. We live in a crazy world. Fishing is the one thing we still have where you can get out and be in the moment and be in nature. And we're just trying to bring that. And so, like, the support back from you guys is awesome. And the braid, I'm very glad with the response we received from the braid, because it's super cool and it's helping people catch more fish.
Clint did the video on the casting distance, and it's hard to tell somebody in a video, even as well as it was documented. It's hard to tell somebody what differences you can see with your casting. And Alex has said it for a long time on the show, and I didn't, not that I didn't believe it, but I'm going, okay, how much better? Seriously, I pick up a reel that didn't have cast on there. I knew immediately, like, that's not the reel I want to use. You know what I mean? It's just one of those. It will change your life as far as casting with a spinning reel. I've got it on. We talked at iCast. I think the 50 and 65 pound braid had just hit. I got a spool of that, put it on my bait caster for my buzz baits and topwater and stuff. It will always be on there. I love it. It's great stuff. So, but with that being said, we're going to jump into. I really wanted to start off because I was impressed with the show, with the podcast that you did. I want to get into the history, because Mick, you've got the history of cast is not. So to go back, you were in construction.
Yeah.
I watched that video this morning on the way to my construction job.
Gotcha.
And I was like, you said some very profound things in that show, and it meant a lot. It spoke to me a little bit. So, give us a little bit of the background of what got cast started, how you got started, and the history behind.
Yeah. I will do. Just before I get into that, though, I just want to say thanks for the invite to come on the show. It's
Absolutely.
obviously it's kind of weird for me being Australian. I'll have, it's around 11 o'clock a.m. in the morning over there at the moment. And, I've had many times where I've sort of snuck off from work or, taken a moment to myself to watch and tune in live when a few of our guys have been on this show. And it's always like, it's really good to see like the connection and the culture that Cast has in this region, obviously being around Lanier and in Georgia itself with the people that we have involved and the results that our products have been able to achieve here for people. And for me, it's really weird watching it from Australia, and now to be even actually just sitting here and being on the show as well at the moment is even more surreal. So I just wanted to say thanks for the opportunity. And obviously also wanted to say thank you to everyone out there that's supporting us, especially in this region, and the people who tune into this show, because like I'm just reading the comments now, like about the braid and the echo and so forth. It's it's very odd for me to see that as an Australian, but I'm very, very grateful because it's been a massive part of the growth of our brand over here. So yeah, that's a long introduction, I guess, but I just wanted to say thanks. That's all. It means a lot to us. But yeah, getting back to your question. So a little bit of the history. I can give you the long story or the short story, but maybe I'll just give you the short story, and then if there's anything you want to focus in on, then we can go a little bit deeper if that makes sense.
It's all your time, man. You do whatever you're comfortable
no
with.
worries. So so essentially I'm a civil construction engineer. So I've done a lot of civil construction projects on the contracting side, so building roads and bridges and tunnels and so forth. And stepped into project management, construction management over that time period. And I kind of got to this point in my life where I was working away a lot from my family. I was away in mine camps and doing a lot of remote and regional work. And I kind of got this little moment in my life where I thought, I can't do this forever. I don't want to be away from my family just chasing money. And I've been a fisherman my whole life. And at the time, online magazines were becoming a really popular thing. And my wife had this great idea of doing an online fishing magazine. And at the start, when she first mentioned it, I was so far off that idea. Like, it's not even funny. I just was zero interest whatsoever, because I had showed some interest in like maybe writing fishing articles or something for some of the established magazines. And then, excuse me, then I lost interest in that pretty quickly. But anyway, I came back around to the idea. And I thought the magazines at the time were all just full of advertising. It was just not necessarily about the fishing. And some of the guys in my group of friends and the people that I knew, we really just love fishing. So I wanted to kind of get people around a magazine that was less focused on pushing product and selling, advertising, and more about actually selling the adventure of fishing. Because in Australia, we have untapped environments and untapped variety of species. Like we sort of joke around when people say, what do you fish for in Australia? And we fish for everything. We do all the fishing. It's like top water, jigging, offshore, inshore, rivers, lakes, saltwater, freshwater, fly fishing. We do all the fishing in Australia because it's available to us. It's not like sort of being in the middle of America where there's lakes that just have bass. We have an embarrassment of riches in terms of variety of fish. So, like when people do that, you kind of get you get into the zone where you're constantly chasing new exciting adventures and new exciting fish. You kind of get on that roller coaster and you go do all this new stuff. So there's a lot of exciting stories to be told by fishing in Australia over many years. So we wanted to collate that into a magazine and get people around it rather than selling product, like I said. So I taught myself how to use Adobe InDesign, got together a bunch of mates through Instagram, and we started a magazine, and we it started getting a roll on, started getting pretty popular. And then we started doing fishing films, and then we started off the back of the films, we started selling apparel, and then we started to have some partnerships with other tackle brands, just on a very sort of loose basis, I guess, but it would never to get in the way of the storytelling of our fishing adventures. And then in the end, those agreements kind of came to a natural conclusion business wise, and we just thought to ourselves, like, let's just do our own product. So then we started developing the product, and we had a few really good years in Australia, and then decided to kind of take that over to America and invest in the brand over here after a trip to Florida. And we met Ryan the next year. And yeah, we came over to America with a view to be a saltwater brand, because that's what we know. And we went to Florida and everyone uses live bait. So we were like, oh man, like these guys are like 20 years behind us in saltwater fishing. So we're going to come over here and show them how it's done, throw stick baits and slow pitch jigging and artificials for like snork and tarpon and stuff. And very quickly we found out, I think was it Eddie? Yeah. So Ryan had, a 60 gram OG. So you guys might be familiar with the 20 gram version. People who know about casts from the OG days, 3 or 4 years ago, will know about the 60 gram and the 40 gram, the bigger models. We sell the 20 gram now, obviously, but that 60 gram caught a giant spotted bass the first day, didn't it?
Yeah. We actually, I brought it to my buddy Eddie because he was going on a tuna trip, and I was like, oh, you need to try this. And so we got out on Lanier, and it was this time of year, and I was showing him how to work the bait. And this is, you guys, I mean, everybody thinks that the 20 gram OG is a big lure. So this is 3 times bigger, solid black with a chrome wing. And he was smashing us. And we're throwing all of our conventional stuff that we would normally throw, like whether it was a Sabile or Kitech or anything that you were fishing at that time, this time of year, spook. And he was just wearing us out. And I was going to drive back to Florida, and you know how we are as fishermen. Franco was like, what was that lure you gave Eddie? And I was like, oh, it's a stick bait for GT and tuna, but I have one. I'll put it in your mailbox. And I think Franco called me like 3 or 4 days later and got like one of his biggest bag of spotted bass, best 5, and then hooked his biggest striper ever and broke it off in the trolling motor. And I was like, we should probably look at doing this for bass fishing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's kind of where that
was. I've got the 20 in the black with the chrome wing, and then I've got a 30 with the black pearl chrome. Clint talked about on a show a while back, and I searched everywhere on the internet and got the 30 gram of the of that one. So yeah. Heck yeah, I like those a lot. So
yeah, so we had dreams of being a saltwater brand around Florida, and then within 6 months we're a bass fishing brand, and here we are.
Hey, yeah. So that was going to be my next question. So basically the light bulb moment was catching those spots that day, watching somebody use the OG to catch spots. That was the moment you said we got to go freshwater, or was
well, I think I'm always interested. Like in Australia, the story of our brand was we always did something different. Like, so we were the first kind of online magazine that did something different. And then we were kind of the tip of the spear in like more quality versions of filmmaking and fishing.
Right.
And so we were kind of ahead of the wave a little bit. We were sort of way before the YouTube influencers, but we were making good quality content about what we did. And so we've always kind of had that brand DNA of trying to do something different. Not just sort of, the same as everyone else all the time. So yeah, we thought, well, these are GT lures catching bass, like that's different. So let's lean into that and do a little bit more of that. So we obviously refined some sizes and really tested the concept a lot and found great success with the drawing power of that bait. And then I had already had the design pretty well finalized for the Prodigy, which I was working on for some fishing applications in Australia. And it's obviously a universal bait. So we finalized the design of the Prodigy and had some really good success with that as well, with the variety of rigging styles. And then obviously we went to the Echo as well. And kind of, we were right at the start of that whole minnow wave, which was really fantastic for us. And so we're kind of always been trying to be at the front of the wave of things, but certainly the OG and our X12 braid is really a differentiator for us as a brand in the bass market. So that's why we really lean into that sort of stuff. So just trying to be different. That's all.
Now, do you see the bass market being hard to get traction in? I know it's not as hard as saltwater, but is it hard to get traction in, or is it just trying to convince people that, hey, you're buying quality, or you're buying, because that's what a lot of guys, they look at the dollar amount and they go, well, it's more expensive. And you have to break it down.
Yeah. Even break down the amount of like X12 on a spool. Like, it's more expensive. Like, that's the whole thing, right? Like, and why there's 330 yards on the spool. Maybe that's explaining to people, because it's, X12 is the only spool over here, I think where you're starting off at 330 yards, but Mick can explain that to you and kind of where that came from, because it's even with the OG, when we brought the OG over, we didn't have hooks right on there. That was a major thing for our culture, because they're like, hey, I just bought a $40 plug. Where the hell are my hooks? Right. But in other cultures, you balance those stick baits out. In Japan and Italy and in Australia, you balance it out by the terminals you put on there. So when you go walk in a store over there, you're going to go pick off you get your stick bait, and then you go pick out your hooks that match it for the whole thing. So it's the same thing with the braid. I think you can explain that to them, like because of all the fishing.
Yeah, and it's just an interesting mix of cultures, I guess. Like Ryan was saying, like traditionally for us, you buy a bait in a packet. It might have come out of a different country, but comes to Australia, and we have really big, mean, strong fish. So typically you get the lure out of the packet and you change the hook straight away. You put on beefier hooks, or your preferred hook, and in many cases stick baits in larger sizes, certainly they don't come with hooks at all. So that was a big culture shock for me. I said to Ryan, no, just put them in a packet, man. People can buy their own hooks, surely. Like, and it was like, no, that is not a thing. And logistics wise, for us to source hooks and get them put on at the factory that we made those baits in, and it's the whole deal. So yeah, we understand it as a premium price, but that's why, for us leaning into different stuff is like, there's going to be an audience for that. Like I always say this to people, like there's an audience for every type of content, and there's a customer for every type of product. Right. We don't have to have every customer in the world. That would be great, but that's just not the reality of some of our products. And at the end of the day, we know how much drawing power that OG has. We know how little fish have seen it, and it's wide application right across the country. Like even the down under the OG, they've caught giant largemouth. We know how successful they are on spots and smallmouth as well, and striper and whatever else you want to throw at it. Bluefin tuna, snook, tarpon. I caught a tarpon on an OG as well. So they're a super versatile bait, but we want to produce really good products, and we want to get elite level results for everyday recreational fishermen. That's really what we want to do as a brand. So we are working on price points of things like that's just the reality of the business side of things. We're looking to optimize costs and therefore optimize retail price and stuff like that, and make it more accessible, which we won't talk about right now, but we do have another OG coming out very early next year. Same, but better.
I got you.
And that should do some stuff with some pricing. But we hear the feedback, but we know how good the products are, and we know what kind of results people can get with them if they want to apply themselves to those products.
Absolutely. Yeah. We got a couple of questions here. Oh, sorry, I cut somebody off there. No, we got a couple of questions. We're going to Jerry Catula. What's the 2 top echo colors for largemouth bass? What are y'all seeing?
Mick, that's all you.
Yeah. I'm the largemouth guy here.
So it really depends on, I want to say not just the species, but your water clarity, right? And it gets the same thing with size and forage. So it's kind of a loaded question. What we use a lot, what was designed really for largemouth, is the Titan color. The guys from Talk and Tackle and Greg and Dylan Filardo designed that color to mimic a lot of the forage in those fisheries. So we do really well with Titan for largemouth. I'm also a big fan of the color Ozark, which mimics a gizzard shad. So if I was starting out for largemouth, and then no matter what fishery or what species you're fishing for, on a cloudy day, low light, or some stain in the water, ether is really hard to beat because it's an opaque color. And I feel like they can see that a little bit better and track it better.
Yeah. I was really surprised that I used the Titan at Blue Ridge, but everything else I was throwing at them, they would look at it or they would swim away from it like really fast. But I threw that one out there, obviously in the small one, and they were all over it. It was just, getting in the right spot at the right time. So I was actually surprised that color was the one they wanted to bite, because I was throwing everything else, like the bluish colors. I was trying to mimic, herring in any way I could, but they wasn't seeing it. So good deal.
I really like the color shifting colors that we have, the Titan and Ozark, and my favorite is Lanier. I think Lanier is like the all-round most applicable bait anywhere in the world. I've fished obviously all over Australia. I fished in Africa and obviously in America now, and I think Lanier and Ozark for me are the 2 general all-round. You could use that anywhere on the globe and you'll slay fish.
Right. the Lanier is definitely a great looking color. I like it a lot. We got Cranking Yankee in the house. We got M Cherry. Just ordered my Cast Echo 2 weeks ago. Cashed a check at the Big Bass Tour, Smith Mountain Lake. Thanks.
Awesome.
Need the 4-inch or the 3.75 restock so I can try them.
Yeah, we're looking, and just because we get that a lot, and I understand those sold out really quick. We're looking mid to end of this month. We'll have a restock on those on the Lanier color for the 3.5, and then our Prodigies as well.
Good deal. And then Tyler Shelnut, Mick, do you fish for Australian bass, cod, or just GTs and such?
Yeah. Thanks, Tyler. We fish for all the fish.
all the fish.
All the fish. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't target Australian bass very often, to be honest. Cod, they're called Murray cod. They're kind of they're an Australian only species. They're only available in a certain area of Australia. And they're kind of like our apex freshwater predator. They are a special fish. We definitely target those 6-inch prodigies, 8-inch prodigies, and the like, sort of, pompadours and other topwater baits that you really fish for cod just for the bite. Like it's a super extreme topwater bite, and then it's kind of the fight's not that great, but they can grow,
Massive.
Giant. It's like a largemouth bass the size of a Wells catfish. That's kind of what they can be into. So they're our apex native fish, I guess. Chase barramundi, obviously GTs and things like that. But my favorite style of fishing is walking the sand flats on the Great Barrier Reef or the inshore sand flats with a fly rod in my hand. That's like, if I could do one style of fishing for the rest of my life, that would be it. Barefoot on a sand flat and with the fly rod.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw some videos where you were doing that. I'm going, man, that's some. You don't think about fishing that way with a fly rod, but it sounds like a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah. Traditionally, obviously freshwater streams and stuff over here, but other places around the world, saltwater fly sports fishing is incredible. Like triggerfish and permit, and I've caught what would that GT be that I got on fly? 40 pounds, 50 pounds?
Yeah, like a 40 or 50 pound.
Something like that. Yeah. GT on fly, and all sorts of fun stuff in Australia. You all should come to Australia. Really cool.
Listen, that's my dream location to go, destination to go. It always has been, always will be, and one day I'll get there. I've been all over the rest of the world just about, but not to Australia yet. So
it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the world.
And Alex, Clint, if y'all got anything, y'all jump in. I'm just popping through questions. Y'all got questions, please ask them.
Yeah, keep rocking the comments. I mean, there's a lot of guys down there.
Got Coleman Jones here. What would Mick and Ryan consider the most successful moment or achievement in each of their careers, whether it's cast related or not? That's a great question.
Yeah,
I'll go one.
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
Probably for me, the most brag-worthy achievement is catching a bigger largemouth bass than Ryan has.
Yeah.
I like it.
I won't even say anything to that. Man, mine is actually the exact opposite. So it's actually being able to meet somebody on the other side of the world, have a best friend that you talk to on the phone every single day, and then getting over to the Great Barrier Reef, everything it took to get there, and being able to fish that is a part to represent our brand. I mean, that's the apex for me right now in my life at 44 years old.
How did you guys meet?
Because I think I used to watch their YouTube videos because I wanted to catch a GT really badly. And when I moved from like the Lake Lanier area in Georgia, it sounds kind of funny. I was bummed to move to Florida, which is great fishing. I was just so into tournament fishing and doing all this stuff. And not that I was any good at it. I just really like doing it. And, I moved down to Florida and I met a friend named Jake that would have me out all night long throwing jigs and swim baits for snook. And we started watching cast videos, and I saw those GTs, and like, you have to go to these really, tropical remote locations to catch these fish. You don't realize it because you're so keyed in on like catching the fish, that the amount of work and money and travel and everything you got to make go right to get to that moment, it's a lot. Right. So I reached out to Mick and Ben. I think I'd watched their videos. And so I started going offshore over in Florida and catching amberjack on stick baits. And it's like, oh, look at this, and then we started talking, and I had an opportunity to go to the Maldives and catch my first GT. So I reached out to Mick a lot and picked his brain about it. And we became friends after that. And then one year they came over to ICAST, and I drove down and met them and caught my first. I went and met these guys, and we caught peacock bass throwing mini-me spinner baits in the canals and everything. And then pretty much from there, there was, we worked on building cast over here.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. All right. Hayden E has a question. What are some regions y'all are interested in expanding into? Texas, Florida, North, etc.
You can go ahead, or I can.
All the states.
Take over the world.
Yeah. No, I think this country, obviously, with the the geographical spread of bass fishing in the country, it's there's untapped potential, really. And I think the majority of our products, apply themselves to the entire country. At the moment, we're getting a bit of a presence in the Pacific Northwest, which is great. That's really cool. There's been a lake record smallmouth bass caught very recently on the 20-gram OG, which is really exciting, and that's got people buzzed up there. It's kind of like, it's almost like that initial buzz that happened around Lanier when it first came and started getting really good results with big fish. It's starting to happen up in that area also. The Northeast is an area that we want to continue to grow into, and then right through this whole southern region as well, just really establish ourselves and get into more stores, really, get into more wholesale retail stores with our products. So there's no real limit for us here. I guess we kind of want to cover all the states.
What do you see as I don't want to say limiting factor, but what is it that you see as the biggest hurdle to get that spread to happen? What would you say is the biggest thing?
I think from a business point of view, we're sort of like, we're not backed by any big companies or anything. Like the guys that finance the company, you're looking at them, we're sort of building it from the ground up. Like I started it in Australia about 10 years ago. We've been going for 3 or 4 years here in America with serious intent. So everything that we make, we bury back into the business and kind of trying to grow it sustainably and responsibly. So for us, the limiting factor is just being able to finance more growth. So our growth comes from sales, and that's where we're at right now. So we're trying to just get more and more sales, get into more and more stores, and kind of grow organically without, forcing it. So I think that's the limiting factor for us at the moment.
And that was kind of a sort of loaded question, because I talked with Ryan at ICAST, and Cast is a small business, so you're supporting a small business when you shop with Cast. You're not sending it out to a investment company who's bought 16 brands. You're buying it from guys that are real people that are fishing local lakes and doing the right thing. So
you're supporting us, really, and you're supporting like guys like Clint when we get him to do film projects and do custom colors, and you're supporting the wider Cast family. And certainly from our point of view, like I still do a little bit of construction work in Australia as an engineer, but it's kind of how we put food on the table for the most part. So that's why we're so grateful for the support.
That's awesome. Jeremiah Giles needing some 40 and 60 OG floaters and fat boys to make it come back.
Yeah, I was waiting for that one. Yeah. Jeremiah has been a big supporter of the OG. It's got him some good fish all around the world from what I've seen. Yeah.
I mean, Jeremiah, that goes hand in hand with kind of what we have in store for the OG next year, and we have a lot of plans for it. It really took off this year in the tuna fishery in California. Our buddy Tyler landed a 200-pound bluefin on it, and there is a lot of traction there. So we hear you, brother. We have a lot of plans for that in 2026.
You might be making some folks real happy with that right there.
Yeah.
Tyler says, Mick, you got to go fish for bonefish in the Florida Keys.
Yeah, I would actually love to. We had lunch with a guy that helps us out with our fulfillment today, and I was just saying to him, I would love to. So predominantly on this trip, I'm going to be swinging off a camera and doing a lot of work stuff here with Ryan, which is like sort of our once a year kind of like review of everything and planning the next year or two. But I was saying to him today that I would love to come to Florida for like 2 or 3 weeks and just fish the flats, because bonefish, tarpon, all that sort of stuff, I kind of want to I would love to like immerse myself in the Florida fly fishing culture for, a few weeks, which would be great. Because we can do that in Australia. Like there's bonefish in Australia in certain regions as well, but they're definitely not as plentiful as they are over here. And it'd be, kind of cool to do the permit tarpon bonefish thing down in Florida with the fly rod for sure.
Absolutely. Big Bait or Big Long John, excuse me, does Cast plan to increase in-store availability of their products? And I remember, Ryan, was it not long ago that you put out a Facebook post that, hey, we're going into stores, tag your store that you want to see it go into. Y'all want to elaborate on that any, or what the process is for a store to have your product?
Oh yeah, they can simply reach out to us. They can hit us up on, even our socials, but email me personally at usa@castfishing.co or at wholesale@castfishing.co. Definitely, we're willing to talk with a lot of stores and get in there and get our presence. So if you guys that are watching this, you have a local store and you'd like to see our product in there, reach out to us, and we're all about it.
Yeah. Guys, reach out to your bait and tackle shops. A lot of them are, sometimes it's about what they perceive as a need for the guys. And sometimes it's about, if you get 15 or 20 people go in there and say, hey, I'm looking for so-and-so, and they leave to go to their competition, they'll get it in the store and keep it. So
absolutely. And we have a page on our website, like you can click it. There's a dealer locator there. I think it's got however many stores we are now around the nation, but there's also a form that they can fill out if you're interested. So if anyone's listening that owns a store and is interested, just jump on there and fill out your details, and we'll get it going.
Talk to them, guys. Get them in there. Derek,
if you guys were going to target inshore saltwater, what would be your favorite baits to target species like redfish and trout?
I want to answer this, and I saw this in the beginning.
Yeah,
it's very, very specific. 100% a 4.1 Prodigy on the sneak rig. Yeah. That is so effective for us, and they do not see it a lot. If you guys can watch some videos, like Mikey Balls has done some videos about the sneak rig for bass on the 3-inch, but very specifically, I can tell you the setup right now. It's a 7-foot medium heavy rod, a 4K reel, 20-pound cast braid, a 20 to 25-pound fluorocarbon leader. We're using a 2-aught BKK Predator hook, which is like a wacky rig hook. You go through the nose, and it's specifically a 3/32 ounce tungsten nail weight. You remove the rattle out of the Prodigy, put that there. What that allows you to do, why it's so different than a jig head, is you have the separation of the weight and the hook. That weight acts as a balance, but it's letting the plastic breathe. And so when you're reeling it slow, you're not going to feel it like a chatterbait, but when you're doing it right, you'll feel the thump in the rod. I had an experience with my friend Tyler. It was about 2 years ago, and we were fishing for beach snook, and it was March. So it's warm down there, but they're very tropical fish. So they're still lethargic at this point. And the way he likes to fish for snook at this time is they'll load up. It looks like a baseball bat with the top cut off. They'll load it up with a bunch of greenbacks. It looks like our blueback herring, and they'll sling them out over the fish, and it activates them and gets them to go crazy. They weren't reacting to it. And no lie, that day we caught 20 snook on the 4.1 sneak rig and 1 on live bait. I've caught so many trout. Everything eats that. So for flats, it allows you to keep it in shallow water like that, but not have to burn it over, where jig head's going to bury you in the grass, bury you in the sand, and you just get amazing action. So very specifically, that's what I would fish for those fish on the flats.
And I have a slightly different take as well, coming from Australia.
Yeah.
I would throw a 3.5 or a 5.4-inch Echo on a data style jig head, because people know it in bass fishing for strolling and using it on a rolling head. If you put that thing on a darting style jig head and whip that around, like it has got some insane action, especially if it's slightly deeper water. When you let that thing fall on slack line, it kind of glides down like that. And so for me, we absolutely slam inshore saltwater fish on the 5.4 and 3.5-inch Echo. So for me, the way I like to fish, I would hands down fish those two baits as well. But that sneak rig is super deadly. I've caught barramundi on that rig as well in Australia. It's such a finesse style rig, and that's kind of speaks to the way I was explaining earlier in the thing about doing different things, and trying to get better results for everyday fishermen.
There you go. Good deal.
We got one more question.
No, dude, jump in and tell me.
How did you guys come up with the cavity for the rattle? Because you don't see that on like any other soft plastics.
Yeah, that was just like I was saying about doing something a little bit different. So I like the thought of having some kind of acoustic trigger in terms of, like, if there's dirty water, there's two reasons for it, I guess. If the water's a little bit dirty or murky or whatnot, it kind of gives some other locating feature of the bait, not just vibration or flash, but a noise that a predator can key in on. And also, you guys obviously have a lot of like freshwater crustaceans and that sort of forage in certain locations. So, you know, you get the click of a shrimp tail or a crawfish claw, or, you know, something banging on rocks, just something that triggers the curiosity of a predator, essentially, is the main reason for it. But the reason it's placed exactly where it is so that it can double as a cavity to insert a nail weight to get that extra versatility and rigging.
That's awesome. Derek had a question. Any potential for glide bait or a harness rig from Cast?
One day.
I like the awkward silence.
Production are in the works. I mean, we're working right now. Like, what I will say is we're working on bringing a few new things to market before, I'd say, spring of 2026. But that is something that I was obsessed with glide bait fishing and doing that for a long time, and it's something that I would love to do. But as of right now, not at this moment, but definitely something we could look into in the future. I think when you look at the glide bait, swim bait market, you know, I guess I'm an old man now, right? I've been around glide baits and swim baits. It's very saturated, right? So what is the point? Why would we make this glide bait when I can go to this company and, you know what I'm saying? And they have a great model already. Like, what's going to make it different? What is the things that we can improve upon to do it? And what's, you know, it takes the time of R&D and materials and all that to make it right. So yes, we'd like to do one, but it has to make sense. And it can't just be,
we want to do
a better one, right? Like, what is going to help? You know, that's my answer to that.
There you go.
I'll actually speak once. One big thing, like thinking about like, all right, what direction of baits do we go next? One of the hard pigeonholes that we put ourselves in is every bait is so versatile in our lineup that like you can rig it so many different ways. You can throw it so many different ways. I can make 5 casts with an OG and work it 55 different ways. So like, how do you make a glide bait super versatile like that, or something in that category? How do you make a worm different than every other worm where you can rig it so many different other ways? So like, that's one of the things that we have to keep in mind is like, we want to stay on the trend of everything is versatile as possible. And so that's one of the things when we're starting to branch into other categories of baits and different presentations, like how do we keep that versatility? Because like for you to catch your PB, we want the guy in the bank or the hardcore tournament fisherman that fishes for a living to be able to use the same products, but they might use it a little bit different. They might not know what a Nico rig is, but they might throw that worm on a drop shot, or they might throw it on a Texas rig. And like, we got to be able to be versatile with what we're doing with our baits, and just to offer that product that somebody can go catch their PB on or just go have a good time with.
100%.
I agree.
That's very well put. So I've got a kind of a follow-up question or whatever you want to call it, I guess, to this. So one thing I've noticed about the Cast products is the quality. Like, I buy a bag of worms or whatever for some other people, and I get a couple of fish out of it. Those Echoes, man, that's a dense. I mean, that's a good bait. You're not tearing that thing up, but you're gonna catch fish on it all day without tearing it up. How hard is it to develop a product? And this is more of a business question, I guess. Develop a product that you know is going to last, but that means they're going to buy less of them because, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're making a great product.
Double-edged sword for sure. In terms of business, I heard a guy say to me probably 7 or 8 years ago, like, you can't make a bait too durable because then it prevents repeat business. But I don't necessarily subscribe to that, because the whole ethos of our brand is good products, good people, and good results. Like, we want good products so that they market themselves by people talking about them. That's the best kind of marketing. Like, you've only got to go to our website and see the customer reviews from the people who actually buy our products. Right. Not all of them are great, but they're like 97% of the reviews are 5 stars because the product's great and the customer service is great. And for us, it's just relentless testing. So you need to test things. You need to make adjustments. You need to be realistically, like I said, you're looking at the 2 guys that own it. We want to make sure that we put our name and our face and our reputation on things that are actually good quality. So we do relentless testing. Like our braid in Australia, we tested that for over 18 months for, how long the coating lasts. Does the color fade? Does it perform under high pressure like what we put it through in Australia? So we know that, like maybe, the odd person might have a problem with it, but we know that we've done the work and we've tested all our products and we know they stand up. So we've got no problem providing great customer service off the back of that because we believe in what we've put the work into.
What's your timeline on, let's say you're working on a new bait. What's your timeline from inception to, actually bring it to market?
It really depends, to be honest. I mean, the Prodigy was quite quick because I had ideas in my head for quite a number of years. So to bring that together was quite a quick process, probably 6 to 8 months, I think. By the time I started sketching and then getting some prototypes done in molding and then obviously swim testing and whatnot. The Prodigy I largely had done in that 6-month window. And then it took another few months for me to get it exactly right, because what I wanted it to do was swim perfectly straight on the drop. So barramundi, large barramundi in Australia, they'll follow a bait for a long time. And then if you take the pressure off and stop winding and it falls, if it swims straight and looks natural, you'll keep their interest. But if it spirals or does anything weird, they're just out of there. So I wanted to make sure that that bait was perfectly balanced to make a good, natural, straight presentation at dead slow speeds, but you could still burn it and it wouldn't blow out. So that took a little bit of time to refine that final design. The Echo was very quick because it's a Prodigy with a straight tail. We knew the features that we wanted out of it. That was quite a quick process. There's a reason why we still don't have a frog, and that's because I've been thinking about how to make a frog better for like 4 years. So that's a while in the process. So it really just depends, like when we bring things to market, we want them to be better than what's already out there for what we want to do and how we want to fish. So it just depends how long it takes to figure out how to make something better.
I got you. Good deal. And then Coleman Jones, he followed up with what you said a minute ago. Customer service, attention, detail, and quality control for casts is what separates them from any other company in the industry. It's the pinnacle of small businesses. And I think that.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
Coleman's a good dude. And, his wife's family owns a business, and they know what it means to be, good customer service and doing the right thing. So,
yeah, thank you, Coleman. Appreciate
amazing.
it, man.
Thank you.
Christopher Brown, I saw a video where some Australian guys took a trip to some reef in the middle of the ocean where nobody in the world had fished, and they caught huge GT, and he followed up, was that you?
It's possible. Very possible. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the places that you fish, we roll out our swags on the sand caves on the Great Barrier Reef.
We don't have swag, so yeah.
A swag is like a roll-up mattress encased in a canvas bag that keeps you warm and dry.
Yeah, it's a coffin you sleep in when you fly 22 hours over there on the Great Barrier Reef, and it's 100 degrees outside. But no, it's pretty cool.
We have done some really wild, remote, amazing trips, and lived on sand islands in the middle of nowhere. But there's there's other guys in Australia that do it. It's probably a stretch to say that no one's ever fished it in the world, but certainly it doesn't get a lot of pressure, and it's very remote. You could get eaten by a crocodile and all that sort of stuff, but the call of amazing fishing is always pretty hard to resist.
Hearing some of your stories today, I listened to one podcast about some of the adventure fishing trips you take and stuff like that, and I'm like, as much as that sounds like fun, some of that stuff, it could be pretty sketchy pretty quick. So I don't know.
Yeah. It is. It's a bit confronting sometimes as well. Like it's almost like there's more fear before you actually go. And then once you get there, it's kind of like you're there, like probably one of the scariest, like I've done some pretty remote wild trips with my friend Ben. He used to co-own Cast in Australia. Recently bought his share off him. But we have done some amazing trips together, and he's really the driving force behind all that remote stuff. He's just a wild man who just loves to do wild things, and I love to tag along and do it as well. But probably out of all the trips we did in Australia to remote locations, just in our little 17-foot boat, probably the scariest trip I've ever been on is we flew to Africa and fly fished off a mothership for 3 weeks in the Red Sea off Sudan. And that was when you say it out loud, it kind of sounded really weird. But that was one particular trip where we lived on this mothership for 3 weeks, an Italian mothership. We had an Italian skipper and all these Sudanese crew and an Italian guide and a South African guide and 2 guys from America and 2 guys from Australia. And we lived on this boat for 3.5 weeks in the Red Sea. And that area was certainly almost untouched fly fishing on some of those sand atolls around the southern part of the Red Sea, around the border of South Sudan and Sudan. Obviously, you can't go there now. It's completely war torn and, in like really violent civil war. But at the time that we went there, all that was kind of calmed down, but it was still very, very confronting to go and visit a third world country to chase this little fish called a triggerfish on the sand flats with a fly rod.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Where's your dream location to go fish? I mean, most people are thinking Australia. You've already got that one in the bag. So where's your dream location to go fishing at? Or hunting even.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do love bow hunting. I mean, bow hunting, my ideal would be like, I want to hear an elk bugle for real. I want to be in the mountains during the elk rut. But I think fishing wise, anything off, anything remote Great Barrier Reef in Australia is really hard to top. But there's one fish called a golden dorado. And I think Bolivia is the country really to target them up in the jungle. Like catch a golden dorado in the mountain streams or the mountain rivers, get in by chopper, sleep in caves or whatever, and just fish for them on fly. That would be something that I would love to do once before I die. Or the Amazon River on fly for giant peacock bass. That's always been a bucket list destination trip for me for sure. But I'm probably unlikely to do either of those, but a man can dream. I've done some pretty special stuff in my life, and I'm really grateful for what I've done already. Yeah, I'd love to get a big tarpon on fly, to be honest. I caught one on a stick bait, and I got a big one on live bait, but I got a bite on a fly on one last year, and that was enough to like. I have been thinking about that for 12 months. It's good to be back, but probably not going to get a chance to do that again for a while.
Now, when you're talking fly, what kind of tackle? I mean, what size? What are we talking like tackle wise?
Well, I typically fish a 10 weight fly, purely because when I'm on the flats, it's like crabs and heavy shrimps. So I like to use the 10 weight. You can use an 8 weight obviously as well, but 10's good because you can get a 30 or 40 pound GT that eats a crab fly for some reason on the flats, or cobia, large cobia on the flats and things like that. So you can tangle with some big fish in Australia. I've caught a GT and a big Chinaman fish on a 12 weight fly combo. So I like a 10 weight for a good all round setup, but unfortunately I haven't been able to do as much fly fishing as I would like over the last couple of years. But like I said, I've done some really special things and been to some special places in my life so far. And I'm, if I had to stop now, I'd be super grateful. I'd die a happy man with what I've done in fishing.
There you go. Ariel Sintomov, Marv, got here a little late. Have they talked about their new braid?
The BFS braid, you mean?
That's what he's talking about.
You want to talk about that one?
What is the question?
Everything talking about BFS braid.
Yeah, so we've only. Yeah, well, I hear you. Yeah, I like to lean back. Sorry. So we're the BFS braid. We just released that about a month ago in an 8 and a 10 pound size. I've been having a blast with that. I like fishing right now. I don't know why. I'm obsessed with throwing a finesse underspin with a 2.75 Echo. So I have a BFS setup. It's really all I like using lately. But also, just because it's called BFS braid, guys, you can totally put it on your spinning reel. It's great for finesse applications. It's the exact same as X12. It's just an X8, same coating, same everything, and it's been really cool. And it's a pretty rad grape color too that I really like. So
good deal.
Yeah.
Guy B follows it up with: is there any time you throw straight braid bass fishing?
When I'm in Florida, when I've gone with some guys down there, you can certainly do that. I even know, Chris Randolph that used to throw a lot of our OG and baits on Lanier, he would just throw the OG to straight braid all the time. But I don't do a lot of bass fishing in Florida, really. I fish saltwater down there more. So there's not really many cases where I fish straight braid. I usually fish, even if it's a short leader for a shock leader or something like that, I fish a leader 99% of the time.
Alex, how about you? Straight braid on anything?
Just buzz baits.
Buzz baits?
Yeah.
Clint?
Negative.
I
put a hook in Ian's head Saturday night, and I didn't have a lick of any braid heavier than 20 pound in the boat.
Oh no.
It was not good. There will be some TikToks out. They're going to be hilarious. Me putting a rock crawler in the back of Ian's head. So y'all keep a look out on old C Bartlett boat for that one.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
And then I
It'll
failed.
be better than watching you run shirtless.
Yeah, I failed attempt at pulling it out too. I like kind of weenie whipped it and didn't quite get it out. And I literally we drove to Trent Palmer's house and he saved Ian because he got it out because I couldn't get the bait off of the split ring because those rock crawler split rings are tiny.
Yeah,
and I'm not the best with split rings. And Ryan's trying to teach me, but
dang, that stinks.
But no stray braid. To be
no. Hey, that's fine. I use it. I'm like Alex. I use it on my buzzbait rod. That's mainly what it's for. Is that 50-pound cast on there, and that's for buzzbait. It's overkill, yes, but when I was younger, braid was crap, or mono was crap, whatever. So I went to braid, and I've never looked back. I always use it straight for the buzzbait. So that's me. Big Long Johns. Have y'all considered modifying the design of the OG after Franco released the juice on the small weight on the back treble? As far as a feathered treble, would modifications make it better for all?
You could probably answer that. I'll just start it off. I like the fact that people play around with the OG and do their own thing. So we are currently in the process of finalizing the next evolution of the OG, and it's a slightly
modified.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah,
something. Yeah, that's all we're gonna say.
I'm not. Yeah, yes. We won't go into
the
it.
answer is yes.
Yes,
we've thought about those things,
and it's same, but way better. And but I still like the fact that guys like Franco can go into the back corner of the tackle store and find something to add to it and do something a little bit different. And that's like what we were saying earlier around the versatility of our product range. Like I think Jeremiah made another comment earlier around how versatile the majority of our range is, and that's something that we're really proud of. So I don't like just giving somebody a bait that this is the only way you can use it. I love seeing the freedom that comes from creativity and people just finding out what triggers the fish in their region, and finding out what works on any given day, and to be able to tweak our products to your preference. That's I love seeing that. It's great.
Gotcha. So with that being said, what kind of feedback do you guys get? Because I'm sure you get all the you need to do this or you need to make this, and how much of that feeds into making baits? Or like I said, I mean, everybody's got something they want, and everybody would like to get it all from Cast or all from whoever they're going to buy their baits from. So how much of that feeds into the machine as far as making those decisions?
Yeah, it does and it doesn't. I really feel like we could just, with the new evolution of the OG, we could just sell OGs and be a braid company, because I feel like those two products really separate ourselves in the market and we do them better than anyone else. And I feel like that's really, we could hang our hat on those two products and some modifications around the OG and some different shapes like the Fat Boy and the Down Under and so forth. But I think those two products, we are the top of the market in those two categories, certainly in the braid, no question. And the OG obviously needs to be a little bit more widespread in the market, but those that, if type thing. So we kind of just, the whole thing with product development in this brand used to be, what do we want to fish with? And that's what we would come out with. So we sort of continue along that way. Obviously there's a business side of things. So we want to offer products like that. We were at the start of the wave with the Echo for the straight tail minnow thing. But again, that product is a super versatile bait in terms of different actions, different applications. It's not just a strolling minnow, but that just happens to be what's very popular right now. So we're coming out with a few other things. I don't know if you want to talk about the Nova or not.
Well, no, I just wanted to say, when you're asking about, when we listen to what people say, about making this or doing this, we have a great group of guys that we have in a group chat, like such as Clint, that we really rely on to get their opinions. And it's funny because you're going to get everybody has their own opinion, right? And we'll kind of make the final call, but there's a lot of things that other guys can bring up that we rely on that are on the water more than us, or they're in a certain region where we can take that feedback and then it gives us an idea too. We may have thought of something or doing something one way, and they'll say, whether it's a color or a modification, have you thought about doing it this way? And and we're like, that's a great idea. That actually is going to improve upon this. So we do get feedback, and we do listen to our customers 100%.
Right.
But I've had some great ideas from customers. But as you know, everybody will tell you 552 different colors to make a worm, right? And you need to do this, you need to do this. And I don't think that people really understand how like arduous of a process that is. And from like the R&D, the materials, the testing, getting over here samples, it's a long process, right? So some stuff we can move quick on, adding a tail to a Prodigy, but then other things, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's a whole deal.
I mean, everybody wants a certain color until they buy the 2,000 or 20,000 order, and then they sell 2 of them, kind of thing.
Yeah. We just recently replaced Casper with Ether in our color range, and like you get one comment on Facebook, do you sell this color anymore? And it's a picture of Casper, and we said no, we just replaced it with Ether, and you get the comment like this. You're like, well, come on, man, it's a white bait. Like,
yeah, I mean, but
have you seen blueback herring? It's pretty much Casper with a little blue streak in it, like
exactly.
Yeah,
it's funny you say that, because I mean, people are like, if I can't have it in this XYZ color, they don't want to buy another one for sure.
You can't please everyone, and you certainly you can't be everything to everyone. So we just try to be the best we can and satisfy the majority of the people that like to fish the way we fish, and evolve and grow as we can as a small business as best we can.
Talking with Ryan and now talking with you, Mick, I mean, and listening to Clint and all the other guys that talk about cast, to me, it comes across, we're going to be great at a few things and not just good at a whole bunch of stuff or par with a bunch of stuff. I think that's one of the biggest things. And it goes back to, like I said, the durability of the baits, or the dependability of the line, or whatever you want to say, the passion that you guys have for what you're doing. It's hard to do that when you're stretched thin, making everything under the sun that everybody might want. And I think that's a great, that's a great thing. So
that's really good. And I think just in further context to that, like what we want to be great at is we want to have great people associated with the brand, and we want to have great customer service. And to me, I feel like if you get those 2 things right, the rest kind of just is a byproduct of that, and you have more success off the back of great people and looking after the customers that do take the time to part with their hard-earned cash. So if we continue to have great people around the brand and great customer service, and I've got to give credit to Ryan for the great customer service over here on the daily. It's amazing to see the relationship that he builds with some of our customers who've turned into great friends and really good supporters. And they're the 2 things we want to be great at. The products will always be really good because we don't want to put our name to anything that's not. But we really want to be great at customer service as well.
And that definitely shows. And then Tyler Shelnut says, excited for that worm. I'm not sure what he's talking about, so I don't know.
Don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
couldn't tell you.
All right. Jerry Catula, is there a plan for Cast to release their new product line entries at iCast or have drops throughout the fishing season?
What was the first part of that?
iCast drops or through the season?
Through the season is how we release products. We've attended iCast. We've done a collaboration with a saltwater brand called Pelagic, and we'll go there for that. But we've never really set up a booth where we show new products. And sometimes I wish we had, because I feel like the X12 really would have had a shot at Best of Show. I certainly do. But really, for us, what we like to do is go take a new product, go test it while we're there. Once we're happy with it, we get content in that area and then launch it that way. And that's just really been our method of dropping a new product.
I got you.
Did you guys make any changes on the BFS braid with the new stuff and the old stuff besides the color?
As in from
like
the X12?
The PE, when we had it, like the PE1, but it was in Australia.
Yeah. So we had essentially the BFS braid is the X8 version of the X12 casting braid. So it's the same process, same coating for long casting and finesse applications so that you can cast really light lures a long, long way, but in 8 carrier strand.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And the color, which is sick.
And we got Yeek, a signature hook set. The Cast Echo is a good bait. I caught several bass on one bait. Most baits usually be torn up. Good job, fellas. And that's
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, man.
I'm telling you. So I'm that guy that I will change colors in the boat, whatever. I'll change it and I'll put my Echoes in my cup holder because I don't want to throw them away. I'm like, they're still good. There's nothing wrong with them. I just got to put them back in the pack when I get done,
Yeah.
So I'm cleaning up after a day of, changing colors or whatnot.
And even if you get one that's, a little torn up or the eye comes off or whatever, you can use it as a trailer.
Right.
Chatterbait or spinnerbait or whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Big Bait John said, Clint, convince him to make a swim bait for me, please. Just kidding. Great product, fellas.
It's a way the composition of the material to make it very and
grippy,
durable at the same time.
Yeah, we can do. Just had Mark in the background asking a question about the plastic composition of our bait.
Sir.
So obviously it's trial and error. So we wanted, speaking to that durability, we wanted obviously something that was going to last, but not the Elastec. I traditionally like the action of more of a PVC plastic style bait. So we just played around with the formula of that to make sure that it had really good action, but also good durability. So we took our time with it a little bit. There's only so many ways you can skin a cat in that regard, but even just, thickness of the bait and that sort of thing, it plays a part in stuff like that. But we're really happy with where we landed on the durability and the action as well. We're super stoked with it. And we're getting a lot of great feedback in that regard.
Right. Coleman, what's your favorite fit rod brands?
Fly rod.
Fly rod, yeah. I was like, fit rod, what? Okay.
Oh,
Hey, you're asking me.
But yeah. My favorite fly rod. I have a G Loomis one at the moment in 10 weight, which I travel everywhere with. I actually brought it with me on this trip. I've had Hardy, I've had Sage. There's an American company called Century that make fly rods as well, which I really, really love. And I never had, I had some like contractual arrangements with Shimano and people like that in Australia for conventional gear, but I never had any sponsorship arrangements or advertising arrangements for fly gear because I just wanted to be super free to experiment with all types of fly gear. So there was also some stuff in Australia called Primal by Manic Tackle, which is a distributor over there. But I love my Sage rod. I love the Hardy rod, and I love my G Loomis rod. But I think it doesn't really take much to keep me happy in the fly rod arena, as long as I'm barefoot with a box of flies in my back pocket and a good pair of polarized sunnies on a sand flat somewhere where no one can find me. I'm pretty happy.
Good deal. Eddie Cruz has a great question. What's up, gents? Can you talk to the struggles of owning a small tackle company and the importance of customers supporting these smaller companies and how it drives success?
What's up, Eddie? Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've been late to the party, Eddie, tonight or not, but we kind of spoke to it earlier, but it is like we want to grow ourselves pretty organically. You're looking at the two guys financing the show, so we're kind of we'd like to aim and fire and try to get it right most times and grow steadily, range after range and drop after drop, and introduce new products that you hope are going to go well and sort of reinforce the strength of the business from time to time. But it's super important, for outlets like this and for customer bases like the people around Lanier and Georgia and and other similar states like Alabama and Tennessee and all those places, North Carolina. It's really important that for the grassroots level, I guess, that support means everything to us, which is why we really focus on customer service and trying to get really good results for everyday fishermen through the quality of our products and the way that we try to explain how to use our products and how versatile they are. It's like the lifeblood of our company is, daily sales online and getting your local tackle sorter to stock our products.
Right.
Super
I've got a question. If you can speak to it, you may not be able to say it or not. One of the things over here in the U.S. is a company measures its success by if it's bought out by another company or not. Right. Has Cast been approached by some of these big names?
We've had some interest in terms of people trying to acquire successful e-commerce brands and things like that, but
and also getting in big box stores.
We've knocked back some big box stuff. But I mean, to be honest with you, like I've had the brand for like, 10 or 11 years since starting it in a mine camp in Australia, and I'm somewhat attached to it. I can see the potential in it. Ryan can see the potential in it. We kind of want to grow it to a point where we can get more of our friends and family involved in the business side of things, and just really see how far we can grow it. Like we think we have what it takes to become a really good, like family owned business that's really successful and employs a lot of people in the future. So yeah, it's not something that we're thinking about at all. We just want to grow this thing to, its full potential essentially, and be surrounded by family and friends as we do it.
Gotcha. Hayden E, is there a finesse OG in the works?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely, it's funny because how many people approach us like, you need to make a smaller OG, you need to make a smaller OG. And I agree, there's definitely a time and place for that. That is something I will tell you we're looking into. We've tested prototypes. What I kind of want to just really relay to you guys, I think that the 20-gram size, why it looks like so giant to a lot of people, coming from years of glide bait and big bait fishing, the drawing power you're going to get from that bait, I think you lose some of that. Now, is there a time and place? Like I can just put linear, right? Sometimes when it's dead calm, maybe you don't want to throw a 20-gram OG on there. You're going to throw something smaller where that smaller bait could be effective. So the answer is yes, that's something that is in the works. But I just think there's something so special about that 20-gram size that you kind of lose when you get to that smaller profile, that drawing power.
I mean, isn't the 20 technically a finesse? I mean, it started at a 60.
Oh yeah, the first time I went to Australia, and we got back from the reef, we were at Mick's house, and there was like a 20 grams sitting on the counter, and we'd been throwing 90 grams and 120s, and I picked that thing up. I was like, this is what everybody in America thinks is like such a giant topwater. This is crazy. And the thing about it is, like, I mean, I've caught a 1 pound spotted bass on a 20-gram OG. I've caught a 1 pound spotted bass on a 40-gram OG, and it's right. I just think there's something there for the drawing power. I think when you're getting, especially on these herring lakes where it's imperative to make long cast and cover water, or if you're using forward facing sonar and you want to stay off the fish, that 20-gram size is going to give you a lot more weight and further castability than a small one. So I think there's a lot of advantages to that 20-gram size, but I totally get why people want a smaller one. That's like our comfort zone, right? And a lot of people aren't comfortable throwing like a big, I guess that's a bigger style bait. But yeah, it's definitely in the works, and it's something we plan on bringing out. And we've tested a lot. We're still making a few changes. It's really cool. I mean, Mick, last year when he was over here, he got his first smallmouth he ever caught in his life on a 10-gram OG, like on the smaller profile, which is pretty cool.
There you go. Good deal. And Mick Tyler asked, have you fished with a Tibber fly rod? They make a black one that looks sick pair with an NRX plus fly rod.
No, I haven't actually. I actually haven't. I've got, I think Tyler gifted me, I think it was a Black Orvis 12 weight. Yeah, but we have, in Australia, we have this really great small business called Harfin Fly Reels. And they make them out of aluminium core, like one piece, lifetime guarantee. Aluminum. It's aluminium where I come from, right? I'm sticking to it. So anyway, they're bulletproof essentially, and they have a lifetime guarantee. So I have like 6 or 7 of the half and fly reels, and I couldn't be happier with those because I bash my gear. I'm not really the kind of guy who looks after stuff, but those reels are really good quality, and it's a small business in Australia owned by one guy, and I like supporting him.
Yeah, it's hard to give that up if you're getting a lifetime guarantee on something
absolutely,
indestructible. And then Captain J Morgan asked what weight rod, 7-7 or 8, I guess. I don't know what question that is. Captain may want to follow that up with something so we can know exactly what you're talking about there. Ryan, what's your favorite bait in the cast lineup for smallmouth?
2.75 Echo and Amethyst, and a 7.2 Echo. Those two, depending on where I am. So Mick's going to kind of run the gambit of lakes. We're going to Nickajack, Chickamauga, Dale Hollow, Gunnersville, a bunch of different places. When we fish Dale Hollow, they really, because of the alewife, they respond really well to a big bait up there. So I've done extremely well with the 5.4 and 7.2 Echo. When we fish the river a lot with Greg and Nickajack right there below Chickamauga, and I've caught some really big fish on the 2.75. The 2.75 is probably my favorite size echo. It's what I'll fish from now all the way through the winter. I like tight lining just on like a 3/32 jig head or finesse underspin, and I catch everything on that.
There you go. Tyler Shelnutt's got an interesting. Tyler's got an interesting question, and I'm just going to ask because it's there. Does Southern Australia have a kangaroo problem?
It's got a Mick problem.
What was the question? Sorry.
Southern Australia.
The entire country has a kangaroo problem.
And wallaby.
It's like they're everywhere. There's
Really?
people like hunters get paid to take them out and cull them. Like it's there's lots of them.
Really?
No, never have. I've eaten one. I've eaten some kangaroo though.
There you go.
Tough meat, or what's the meat?
It is a little bit tough, but I think we're one of the only countries in the world that can, readily eats the animal that's on our national coat of arms.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think we start eating bald eagles, there'd be a problem.
Yeah, there'd be a big problem with that.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's it.
I see here. He said he just got here. Paul B's wanting to know about chartreuse braid. I don't know if y'all have a plan on any other colors in braid. I don't know if maybe that's what he's getting at.
Yeah, I totally understand why you want chartreuse braid, because even Mark, I don't even know if you can see him sitting back there behind us with the float and fly. That being able to recognize, have that color and recognize bites is great. I don't think we will ever make a chartreuse braid. We've talked about that a lot. You get half the people saying they want a chartreuse braid, and you get the other half wanting a dark color, right? So the color that we have is the color of the atoll. It was based off the Great Barrier Reef, and it's very unique for our product. And I think we'll just always keep it that way. We will make some other braids, like obviously the purple BFS braid, and we have a few other things in the work. But as of right now, we don't have a chartreuse in mind lined up.
Good deal. All right, let's see. Guys, if you got any questions, y'all ask away. Let's see. Cody and Hobie. I remember putting my biggest tackle order with Cass a few years ago. This talk durability, I'm still using line and base from then. I'll be making another big one. So I don't know, a few more years. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to read around a cable here.
Appreciate it, Cody. Thank you. That's awesome to hear.
He's talking about that durability again, and it going a while before he has to buy another order of it. And that's 100%.
And talking about that, it's kind of like what we said about, it's not always like a churn and burn, everyone buys a new packet every week. But when we hear stuff like that, that's why it's so important for you guys that love our products to go and tell your friends, because it's not that you guys will, buy products every week or two because you're going through the baits because they last long. So we need to get as many new customers as possible and try to get it into as many new stores as possible, because we know it's great, and we know it's doing a good job for many, many people, and we appreciate that feedback. That is awesome to see.
Yeah, my problem was when I went to the store. I have a local tackle shop here, Mackenzie's Bait and Tackle. That was he picked it up, pretty recently, and I went in there and spent way too much money at the time because I was like, I got to have every color. I wanted every size, every color that he had on the shelf, and I got pretty much everything he had as far as options go. He still had a bunch there, I'm
We're
like,
good for a while now.
Yeah, I'm still reaching in the box, pulling stuff out for sure. And that's, you talked about the Elastex baits earlier. So I learned the minnow game last year. I got in it, just started messing around with it, and won't name the big brand company Elastex, obviously their brand and their jig heads. And I like their heads, and that's what I used at Blue Ridge. I pulled their bait off and put the cast echo on their head, and it worked perfect. Like I said, it followed up great. And I've got a ton of queen tackle, heads that were already in the boat, but I had it tied on kind of thing. So, I mean, I think you're right. I like the action the echo gives versus that elastic action. Like I said, they were completely turned away from it, wouldn't even pay attention to it. So, and somehow we've gotten in the comments on all the problems that Australia has with animals. Camels,
yes, there is camels. Yes, you can bow hunt them. There's cats, there's foxes, there's all sorts of stuff. Yeah, we have.
How do you say cassowary? What's the bird?
Cassowary. No,
cassowary.
They're not a pest, but yeah, they're a prehistoric giant bird.
So you can bow hunt a camel.
We're not going down that route.
Sorry, say again.
You can bow hunt camel in Australia?
Absolutely you can.
Wow.
100%. Yep.
That's crazy.
The typical, because what it is in Australia is there's There's more and more regulations around bow hunting from state to state, but typically you can't bow hunt in public land like you can here. There's no like ballot system with licenses and so forth. So if you have access to private like grazing land or farming land that the landowner has to, by law, take care of the pest population, and camels are feral pests, and so you can hunt all these feral animals in Australia, and we're quite blessed to have a large range of feral animals. But the catch is you have to have access to private land, which is very, very difficult to achieve in Australia.
Wow. Never would thought to hear that. You almost think it's all kinds of land to hunt, but
Is all the land in Australia government owned, or is it?
No, not all of it. No, it's private. A lot of it's private grazing land, and
So we have like Bureau of Land Management land.
Yeah, there's state forests and stuff like that. Yeah, but you can't hunt them in Australia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eddie wants to know when you're bringing back the camo patch hats.
Oh, yeah, we can. That's just pressing a button. This one, you mean? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
We can bring that back soon.
There you go. All right, here's a good one. Derek wants to know, what are your favorite unique baits that are not cast brand?
I know a couple I can say.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, go for it.
I don't know about unique. It's not unique, but I think one of the best lures ever made is a Mega Bass Vision 110. I don't think anybody will ever changed my mind on throwing that jerk bait. It's an amazing bait. And then I'm going to flip to saltwater. I think one of the best sinking stick baits ever made is from a company called Siren Lures up towards Cape Cod. That guy is one of the best people in the fishing industry, makes some insane lures that stand up to giant bluefin up there. Those are two of my favorites right there.
There you go. Mick, what you got?
I love a Jackal Squirrel 79 silent squirrel. We have them in Australia. We actually did a collaboration with Jackal, a cast Jackal color squirrel in our ether colorway, and then an inverted ether color. So I love that as a jerk bait.
Clint, what do you got?
I was thinking jerkbait too, and then they both started talking about jerkbaits. I like an OSP Varuna as the jerkbait I've been throwing a lot lately and catching a bunch of bass on that thing. Another bait, I would say the 6 Sense C25 deep diving crankbait, because I caught my biggest bag on Lanier ever on that crankbait this summer. So I've been cranking. This has been a year for cranking and yanking for me. So
there you go. Good
bunch
deal.
Of crankbaits this year.
I like it. Alex, what do you got? Unique bait.
Hold on, I want to answer for Mark. Float and fly.
Sorry.
I didn't want to leave Mark out. Float and fly. Yeah.
I am partial to a pointer.
Yeah. The Lucky Crap pointer. The Lucky Crap pointer. I've fished with Mark for a long time. He's caught a lot of fish on that jerk bait.
There you go.
And if he pulls out the Carolina rig with a Zoom green pumpkin lizard, it is game over. He wears me out on that.
He's got patience to sit back there and drag it, huh?
I don't have the patience. So it's mentally, it's the whole thing hurts. I get my butt kicked fishing, and it's like I'd rather have a root canal.
Exactly. Alex, what's your favorite? What's your favorite unique baits?
My favorite unique bait that's not cast is probably the MRE from TFC.
You got mine, man. That was mine too. That was my unique one. Yeah.
There's no other bait out there like it.
Yeah, it's definitely got a action of its own and a look of its own. Like you talk about with they're another small bait company and this I want to say innovative because but it is. It's not the same stick baits that everybody else is putting out. The small plastic makers. A lot of guys will go get the same molds and make the same things over and over again just to see something different come out. And I'm right there with Alex on that one. MRE is definitely up there for me. And I like the Vision 110, but I said on the show the other day I'll use the Stunna just because it's basically a 110, but it's got better hooks. So it's a little bit cheaper.
I have a couple more.
Go for it.
A local company, I think, Sweet Baits Herring. It's my favorite 3-piece bait. Not only the look of that, but how smooth the swim is on that. I'm obsessed with throwing 3-piece baits like that for a long time on Lanier, and that's a great bait. And then it's a popular bait. It's not very different, but just a Depths 250 glide bait. I still think out of all the glide baits that have come out, and I haven't fished some of the newer ones, but that still has such an amazing drawing power and a really cool swim to it as well.
Man, that's a glide bait game is something I just got into this last year, and I'm gonna tell you, it's almost it is an addiction. It's more than an addiction because I don't care if if it's anything glide bait wise. I'm like, I'm gonna try that just to see if they'll bite it. And now it starts to get expensive when you start to get into some of the other ones. You're like, let me throw this $250 bait to see if I can get bit with it. So yeah, that's
anything in Australia, Mick?
It is, but not as
yeah. I used to have a collection of Hinkle shads, depths, all that, and I sold all of it to fund Shimano Stellas so I could catch GT and big. That's basically where all that is now. That obsession.
You got to do it, man.
The bait scene in Australia is more targeted around that Murray cod that I was talking about,
right?
And some freshwater barramundi as well. But it's nowhere near the scene over there as it is here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What does bass fishing look like in Australia?
Non-existent.
It's not that exciting.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, we only have one species of Australian bass in freshwater. We have other like saltwater species that they call bass, but even the freshwater fish in Australia is not really a bass. I think it's more of a perch kind of fish, but it's fairly similar in terms of impoundments, and then they're also in the rivers. They are fun to chase in the rivers, like on top water. That's quite fun, but it's, like I said, it's when you come here and you've got 90% of the country can have access to bass, you can understand the focus and the attention on that species. But in Australia, bass is just one of very, very many species that you can target. So some people absolutely love them. We get a lot of good results on the 3-inch prodigy in Australia chasing bass. But yeah, I mean, it's one of very many cool species to chase, but yeah, I don't focus a lot of time on them personally.
Just to say real quick, my experience when I went over there and fished for Australian bass, you know what they remind me of? They're very similar to our white bass here or our hybrid, like smaller hybrids. And here to give you a really good example. So my buddy Tyler, that will wear me out anytime he can, he wanted to have a bass fishing competition because I'm the bass man, whatever. So we go over there and you get to this lake and you see all this amazing vegetation around the shoreline, right? And the guy hands us a chatterbait, and I was like, I'm going to kill Tyler. I know exactly what to do, right? So I fish around in my kayak for like an hour or two. I don't get a damn bite. I come up to Tyler. He's in the middle of the lake and like 80 feet deep, yo-yoing a damn chatterbait in the middle of the lake. He's like, this thing's awesome. It's like, have you caught somebody? He's like, oh, yeah, I've already caught 20. And I was like, yeah, you can keep Australian bass fishing. That's not for me. So
that's hilarious. Okay. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a decent size one out of a little creek, a little river, but yeah, it's different to over here, that's for sure.
There you go. Gabby wants to know if you guys would throw an OG on Lanier tomorrow, or is that bite over for the year?
Based on water temp, it should still be there. And I've said this a lot. I mean, really, this is when we first came out with the OG, it was like late October were the awesome days for us. It's for Lanier, there's 3 really awesome times. The herring spawn is really, really good. So end of March, April, June, when those fish first get out to the brush and they're very hungry. And then October, it will start to fade in November. It just really depends on water temps when they're not willing to commit or come up. But, when you get a nasty day in October, November, it can be epic.
Good deal.
In January.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, 1 year. With Mark, and he reminded me of that in 1 year on New Year's Day, Eddie caught an OG fish on Lanier, which is pretty crazy. But it wouldn't be like the first choice, obviously, at that time to go out and throw.
That makes sense. I mean, that narrows it down for some folks if they're thinking about throwing one for sure. Because I mean, a lot of guys don't know, when that time would be or when it wouldn't, the best time would be. So that's a great answer.
I was telling them earlier that the picture you had up of me, I said that spotted bass was a representation of myself if I was a spotted bass. I don't know which one's fatter, but I guarantee you that was the first OG fish spotted bass caught on Lanier this year. And it was like, I want to say, barely. Yeah. And that water temperature was cold. And we were fishing a high spot, a herring spawn spot, throwing it up there and just barely moving the bait and caught that one.
There you go. And then Tyler followed it up with, he was telling Gabby he had topwater bites over the walking bait and a fluke on Sunday. So go for it.
Yeah, they were busting bait big time on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, test out and see.
I saw it a little further up too.
You got one of those. Which one you got further? Which one was it? You remember?
Derek Catula. It says, "What's a good rod to use for the 20-gram OG power and action?"
Oh, there you go. Sorry, I missed that one.
A 7.2 to a 7.6 rod, so you can really launch it. Medium heavy. I use an X Pride. You want to have a bit of a tip so that you don't pull the trebles, but on the OG, you got to think you're casting it in most cases so far away from the boat, and the treble hooks that are on the OG are pretty stout. And if you have a fish come up at the end of your cast and hit that bait, you need to be able to bury those trebles far away from the boat. So 7.2, 7.6 medium heavy, brand of your choice.
There you go. I like it. Thanks, Alex, for catching that because I missed that one completely, I guess.
Are you good?
Eddie Crowth, he asked, what are some more unique species of fish that have been caught on cast baits that you guys are aware of?
In America or all in the world? Like, there's been a lot caught on. I mean, just because of that.
That answers the question.
In America, I think that tarpon, I got a nice tarpon last year on a 20-gram OG, which was cool in saltwater.
Tarpon, bluefin, amberjack,
cobia,
snook,
Walleye.
a walleye, walleye, muskie, striper, spotted bass, shoal bass. I mean, it's been.
I caught a 10-inch bluegill on the OG.
yeah.
Hey, there you go. I mean, and that's the thing is going from the saltwater to bring it to freshwater and having that realization, it will catch anything basically. I mean, the baits are made for the versatility, like you talked about earlier. They're going to catch pretty much anything that'll bite if they're a predatory fish. So
yeah, absolutely.
Big Long Johns wants to know: do you guys predict that U.S. sales will eventually exceed sales in Australia?
Oh, they already have.
Yeah.
America's a far bigger business now than it is in Australia, and there's a reason for that. In the last 3 or 4 years, we pretty much put the handbrake on Australia to concentrate on our business here. But I love this business here. It's exciting. It's got fantastic people involved, great community around it in terms of customers, and a really big potential to be a great business here. So we still keep it ticking over in Australia, but all our growth plans are based around America, and that's where all our focus and energy is these days, which is exciting.
So, I mean, I don't want to get political by any means. Is the political climate an issue with anything as far as the business goes, being based in Australia and then working here and getting products and materials?
No, it's purely just a factor of how much energy and drive and love we have for what we're doing over here at the moment. It's got so much like momentum and goodwill and energy, and it's exciting to be part of. So it's just the next evolution of Cast. Really, is just to come over here and grow it. And I really loved what we did in Australia and what we are doing still. But I just recently bought out my business partner of 6 or 7 years in Australia. So for me, from a business point of view over there, I can't do everything all at once and do it well. So I want to focus on what we're doing over here. So yeah, this is what we're doing for now.
Right. Well, good deal. I just know that, a lot of companies are, they're talking about how hard it is to get materials and stuff like that. Or, I didn't know if that made a big difference with Cast or not. Because that seems to be everybody's, at least even in my industry, it's like, well, there's tariffs or there's whatever.
There's no question the tariffs have had a massive impact on what we do. Absolutely.
Right.
But it doesn't diminish or dilute our commitment to what we're trying to grow. It's just another challenge in the way to overcome. That's nothing new for anyone who runs a business or, does anything challenging in life. There's always, mountains to climb. So yeah, this is just one of those ones you got to adapt and get around.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Captain J. Morgan, do y'all get into drowning maggots, corn, carp, cod, trout, mullet, or all those different freshwater fisheries?
Trout,
no.
Trout, yes. Not really much into carp or any of the other, like the corn and maggot deal, but trout, yeah, we catch trout. We had a day last winter. We caught over 100 trout on Lake Nantahala on the 2.75 Echo tight line in it. That was an absolute blast.
That's awesome.
And the fly. Mark said, and the fly too. The fly caught a few.
Unless I'm actually fly fishing, I have a little saying. It's top water is the only water.
Top water's the only water.
Yep.
Hey, that's the way to go. Top water's definitely a favorite of mine. That's for sure. Man, we've covered so much stuff, guys. If y'all got any other questions, we've hit the bottom of the comments. If y'all got any more comments? They're here. Talk to them. Some comments in there.
I feel like we talked about everything.
Yeah.
We've had a bunch of comments talking about needing to do this, color wise or whatever. A couple of guys want some different colors for stuff, but I'm gonna ask Clint a question because he hadn't talked a whole lot tonight.
I know.
I got Eddie Crow texting me right now, being like, "Quit being a statue. You haven't said shit all night."
I know. I feel awkward. I feel awkward. So how did you get involved with Cass and that story about how you got involved with them?
So it was 2021. 2021 Bassmaster Classic, and it was me, Ian Freeman, and Kaz Anderson jumped in the truck to go work the Bassmaster Classic, and we drove from North Carolina, and so of course we had to make a pit stop at Hammond's. So it was like 45 minutes out of the way. At this time, I didn't live close to Lanier, never fished Lake Lanier, but I knew there was this badass tackle shop called Hammond's close by. So I was like, all right, we're going to make a special trip on our drive to Texas to make sure that we go swing by Hammond's. So we swung by, and we walk in and shop around. I can't go in a tackle shop without getting a handful of all kinds of different tackle. I'm bad. I don't need to go in there because I don't need to be spending the money in the first place. But if I do, I'm like, oh, that looks cool, or I need some of those, or I need some of that, or that's something different. And I always will be a good tackle customer because I'll go in there and spend $100 to $300 just because I need a restock, or I'm about to go fishing that next day and I just found a bunch of stuff that I think might work and end up only throwing a quarter of it. But anyway, so the special buy, like a lot of times when I go to a new tackle shop, I'll try to find something that's unique or different, or something that like I don't feel like I can get anywhere else, or I'm not going to get at any other point. And so I decided to I saw there was 3 herring colored OGs hanging up on the wall at Hammond's, all in like a plastic bag, hanging up. And me, Kaz, and Ian were in the aisle, and Kaz is like, "Oh, dude, they ain't gonna sell these things anymore. You need to buy one right now." And he's like, "I heard some dude on the internet said these things catch big." So of course I'm sold, and I'm like, "All right, cool." So I was like, "Dang, this thing's $50." And he's like, "Oh, dude, they ain't gonna make them anymore. We might as well buy it now." So me, Kaz, and Ian all bought the same OG 40-gram in the herring color. And so we all bought it right there, drove to the Classic, didn't think anything of it. And then on my way back to the Classic, we went to Lake Hickory in North Carolina, and I went to go fish it with Ian. And I caught my first fish on like the second cast on the OG, and it was 7 inches long. 7 inch long with the 40-gram OG. So that was the only fish that I caught on an OG. And keep in mind, this was the weird Classic in 2021 with COVID and everything. It was in June. So it was around that time, and I caught one fish on it. And I remember taking a picture of that cast OG and rod, and it was a pretty sunset or something like that. Took a picture of it, and then I remember typing in, I was about to post it, and then I was like, "Oh, I should tag them or whatever." And then that's when I followed Cast, because I just went to tag them because I was like, "Oh, it's that bait or whatever." So literally, like within an hour of that post being out there, I get a message from Cast Fishing USA, and I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of crazy." I thought it was like kind of one of those automated messages or whatever. And it was like, "Hey, thanks for sharing. Like, appreciate you posting. Like, this looks awesome." But like something didn't seem so automated about it. It was like, this actually like seemed like somebody just typed this out. So I was like, thanks guys. Like, if you ever need anything, like I was still in the hardcore freelancing, doing all kinds of freelance video work. I was like, if you guys ever need any video work, let me know. And then I immediately get a response back, and he's like, "Hey, like actually that's something we'd love to work on. Like, let's get on a call and see if we can make something happen." And then I got on a call with these two guys. Literally within like 2 days so I've gone from buying an OG to I'm getting on a video call with some dude in Australia, and I'm like, holy crap, like, what is going on? And then shortly after that, a couple months later go by, and I still haven't caught another fish on the OG. And so I'm like, okay, I need to figure this thing out. Like, why am I'm throwing it religiously? Like, I'm seeing all these Facebook posts of dudes on Lanier catching 5-pounders on it. And I'm like, why am I'm not catching them on it at all? Like, trust me, if you guys have bought one of these things and committed to it and you still haven't gotten bit, I promise you the time is coming. Sometimes it's just a timing thing. Like, I talk to these guys, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, sometimes it's just not your time to catch them on it. I promise, like, you will. Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, it's me. Yeah, it is me. So, we go down. So we're talking about trying to schedule a video shoot in October. And at this point, it's like middle of September, something like that. And we have to go do a shoot down on Lanier for Black Rifle Coffee Company, which I was freelancing for at the time. And so me and Ian and Paul Bork drive down to go meet Shane Durant's on Lanier. And so me and Paul jump in a boat together, and then Shane Durant's and Ian jump in a boat together, and I had an OG. Well, I remember pulling up and going around, and I was fishing off the back of the boat with Paul, and I sling this OG. I see like one little blip of a herring come out of the water, like far away. This is, I don't think he had a scope on the boat or anything at the time too. So we were just kind of bouncing around, hitting these shoal markers. And I see one little blip of a herring come out, and I bomb this 40 gram over there. And like, I remember Paul like chuckling and being like, you really think they're going to eat that big old thing? And then it was literally, I caught a 5.5 pound largemouth on it. And I was like, okay, this thing, finally, like I waited 3.5 months to catch a bass on this thing. And then literally like same day, I caught like a 4.5 pound spot on it. And I was like, okay, this thing's awesome. And then Ian got a double on a Clash 9. He caught a 3.5 pound largemouth and a 2.5 pound spot, ate the Clash 9 at the same time. Like, we had a really cool day on Lanier. And so that was like my first real experience catching them, like actually catching them on the bait. And so literally I was like telling Ryan, I was like, oh, dude, like they're eating this thing. And he's like, yeah, I know everybody else on Facebook's been posting it for months, and it took you this long to catch them on it. No, Ryan was still super sweet back then. And he's a little saltier now. And anyway, so we scheduled a shoot, and I went out, and that's when I met Eddie Krauth, and we went out and had a day. It was a very slow day where the bites were few and far between, but everyone was giant. It was glass calm, bluebird skies, and every bite was giant. We had a fat bag of some just absolutely gutted out spots. They were just built like a brick shit house. They were huge. And so had a blast, got some epic eats on like I felt like everything was dialed. I was filming everything, getting the slow-mo, the underwater, like all the fun stuff. And it all worked out. It was all like pretty cool. And they didn't hate me, and they were like, oh, let's use you to film some more stuff. And then now we've gone into bait development, and I was like, Ryan, this straight tail minnow thing is going on. Like, this is a big deal.
That's definitely it's definitely on Clint coming up with the Echo and having that idea when we were looking at a few things. And he was the one that really pushed us to do that. And then I got with Mick, and I was like, let's check this out. So that was for the Echo for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But that's basically the story. And then so that was back in 2021 when we first made that connection. And then now we've made baits like the Echo and the OG, and working on all kinds of new stuff, and being on the product development side, making colors, the Bartlett bluegill on the down under back in the day. So that down under is one sneaky bait, and it's pretty cool, and it's coming back. It's coming back.
Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna get
what
one
other
of those.
questions y'all got for Mick? Or hang on, I got a question for Mick.
Go for it.
When's the last time Ryan just made you laugh?
the last time
I went
Like,
fishing with
today
him,
doesn't count.
basically full stop. The last time I went fishing with him, I think it was at Nanahala.
Nanahala.
Yeah. Well, I think, was I with you, Mark?
You might have been.
Yeah, and it was just me and Mark up in the creek, and you're like, bass fishing, these guys don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
First cast.
Oh yeah.
I sent him a photo. Hey Ryan.
Yeah.
Lipping a big old largemouth.
So let me tell you something about my buddy Mick and my buddy Tyler. Tyler is one of the best tarpon guides in the world. Only saltwater. Thinks bass fishing is ridiculous, right? So we take Tyler. He comes up to talk and tackle. We take him in the river down to Nickajack. I catches like a 7 or 8 pounder trying to catch a striper. He wanted a 5-pound striper. He catches like a 7 or 8 pound largemouth. Greg's like, that's the biggest fish we've seen down here in the river in years. He threw it back. It was like bycatch to him. Then like the next week, we take Mick to down to Punta Gorda, Florida, and he throws it down under. And we didn't weigh that fish, but I guarantee you it's between 9 and 12 pounds. So both of these guys in my ear every day is bass fishing's too easy, man. It's too easy. I'm like, you guys have no idea, and they wear me out on it. So it's
I get those comments on social media all the time. Guys are like, the saltwater guys like, oh, bass will eat anything. That's the easiest fish in the world to catch. I'm like, I wish they'd come get on the boat with me sometimes. Yeah, it is.
No,
But
I think what it is for us is people like Tyler and myself, we're not laser focused on bass, so we don't put that much pressure on ourselves about, figuring out every variable and, what's going to work. We just go out there and fish, and sometimes it works out really well.
Some of those species you fish for in saltwater,
Very
they
similar.
give birth to fish.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
So basically,
at the end of the day, fishing's fishing, no matter what species it is. It's all about animal behavior and patterning and that sort of thing. So finding out what triggers they are, and believe it or not, that bass are very similar to other fish. There's very similar behavioral patterns, very similar triggers that make them bite. So fishing's fishing, in my opinion. I think it's very
100%.
It's very global. You can get very wrapped up in the details, I think.
I'll say we talk about it on here. So basically, the fishermen make it harder than what it really is. We overthink things.
There is a portion of that, and there's also a portion of, I think, looking from the outside in America, there's obviously a path to earning a living from it as well. So it's very, very competitive. Like at the pointy end, those little details do make the difference. But for a recreational fisherman like me, I just love going and targeting any kind of fish. And
I wish I could say that.
Sometimes it's bass, and sometimes it's giant trevally or barramundi or whatever it may be, and that there's a lot of crossover between a lot of species. And I think the more you fish for different species, the more you actually see that is the case.
I think that's a huge statement right there. The more you fish for, because we all get stuck in fishing. I grew up fishing bluegill, whatever, catfish. And then now bass is the only thing I want to catch, and I'll end up going and catching catfish, just as a byproduct. But catching other species helps you get better at fishing and in general. You start seeing that. Yeah. Jeremiah Giles got a question. He asked it earlier, and I didn't get to it. Will there ever get a rattling or noise making OG?
Yeah, so there is a little idea that I've had in my mind for about 5 or 6 years that I want to make happen. I'm not going to talk about it now. It's sort of a noise thing, but it is something I want to work on. And with this new process that we've got of manufacturing them, it's probably going to be a possibility. So if I can bring that from my brain to a physical product in the next 12 months or 18 months, then there'll be something similar to that, but not just your typical rattle or noise. I like the unpredictability of the OG in terms of action. So no one retrieve will be the exact same as the one before it. I mean, even within a retrieve, no one slice of action from that bait will be exactly the same as the last time you whipped the rod or reeled the handle of the reel. Being so non-mechanical and very natural, I like that it's a silent bait myself, and I think you can control a little bit of the noise with how much splash and how much aggression or finesse you use on the bait in terms of like acoustic triggers. My personal preference is to keep it as a silent bait, but we're always out there listening to feedback from people using it, so possibly in the future, but it'll be a little bit different to a rattle, a standard rattle.
Nice. Coleman's got a great question, and I think this is a really good one. How do y'all get inspiration for your film work? Your short videos are like movies, and I've watched a ton of y'all stuff. And it's great work. And like he said, it's like watching short films.
Talking about goals and Michael.
Yeah, so that
really, that's what it is.
Yeah, the inspiration kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about whatever we want to bring to the market. We kind of want it to be good, and a good representation of how we want the brand to grow into the market and how we want to put our names behind quality. So it's not just quality products, but quality content as well. And we started, like I said at the start, as an online magazine in Australia, and then we grew into making our own films. And what was missing in Australia at that time was there was kind of only, in fishing certainly, the really good quality films were only the fly fishing brands, because there was, a bit of money behind that. And, like the Yeti style films and things like that were just sort of taking off. And that kind of storytelling in fishing wasn't prominent, certainly in Australia. So we kind of wanted to just do something different and better. So we taught ourselves how to use a camera, taught ourselves how to edit, and just sort of got better and better. Like some of our early stuff on YouTube is horrendous. Like if you go back and look at it, it's embarrassing almost, but you got to start somewhere and then evolve yourself.
Yeah.
And so over the last few years in Australia, I guess before we came to America, that's what kind of got our name brand known in America, was being a quality brand in Australia. And we were able to leverage that quality and get ourselves sort of known in certain pockets of America from the people that were already following us from those good films in Australia. And so we just wanted to build on that in America. And we've got amazing people involved now in the content. Like I haven't swung off a camera for years, and I haven't edited anything for years. We have this really talented guy involved called Michael Wood from Australia. He is insanely talented with editing and creative direction. We have guys like Clint and Tommy up in he's in Georgia now as well, isn't he?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tommy filmed a lot of stuff. Did a lot. He filmed a lot of the Marlin tournaments for ESPN. Lived in the Keys, did a lot of fly fishing and filming down there. Awesome photographer, and then moved up to Lanier area. So we've really lucked out. It's pretty cool how it all comes together. The meeting Clint, meeting Tommy, it just all happens. And these people are like our best friends and their family. And so that's what, when Mick keeps referring to the people in the group, it's a small group of really talented but awesome individuals that kind of bring their own piece to the party.
And Michael Wood in Australia, we hit it off actually, not even fishing related. We obviously followed each other in Australia fishing wise, but we used to send each other photos of hip hop songs that we were listening to on the radio. Like you'd take a photo and say, what do you know about this song? We'd just be vibing on like a hip hop sort of fan thing. And then eventually I asked him to write an article in the magazine. He did a great job for such a young fella, and then evolved into that. And so it's all about the people, and the inspiration behind it is that we don't want to present anything to the market that we don't feel like is good quality. Like I said, good people, good products, good content. I mean, he might be. He's probably asleep.
Shit about basketball.
Oh, there we go. Don't even.
So that's the inspiration. We just want the brand to be, well recognized and well regarded, because we put a lot of time and effort into everything we do with Cast, and hopefully we put our best foot forward with everything we put out into the public.
Right. And Clint said something to me a while back, always be able to, tell a good story. That's the biggest thing. Tell a good story. And that's where it really starts at, I think. We've gone about an hour and 52 minutes, but I got one last question from Jerry Catula. It's a really good question here. And other than making purchases, what can customers or cast products do to help push the needle for cast?
Oh, that's awesome. That's an awesome question.
You go ahead on that.
The simplest thing for us is word of mouth marketing. Like if you love what we do, just tell as many friends as you can. And I mean, if you have your local tackle store that doesn't stock us or does stock us, but get them to stock more of our range, or get us into some new stores. That really is the lifeblood of the growth of our business. Like we want to spread our products far and wide, and really get it into as many people's hands as possible, because we want to be able to get everyday fishermen achieving elite results. And that's really the driving force behind it for me.
And then did you want to also, if we're wrapping up, did you want to give something back? Or Mick has something he wants to do real quick at school, or just
okay. It's nothing super special, but I just thought, like, for me, like I said at the start of this podcast, I'm super grateful to be asked to come on the show, because I've watched it from Australia and just seen the community that's been built around this show, around our brand, like from guys like Clint and Franco and, various other people who've been on the show, obviously Ryan. Absolutely. And, I love seeing the support from you guys. When Danny had the tackle shop, I was like, come on, man, just like buy the product, buy braid, like start selling it to these guys, because you could see that the demand was there and the interest was there and the support was there, which was like kind of a really, really nice feeling for me. And it was kind of like, I remember watching the first show. I think Ryan was on it. You were talking about the OG, and I was kind of like, it was a mixture of being surreal feeling, but also a little bit emotional, like thinking, oh, like, how was something that I created like 10 or 11 years over there on the other side of the world and making an impact on people? And it was really, really cool to see. So this show in particular has a bit of a kind of a special place in my heart, especially with the growth of Cast coming from this region as well. So I just wanted to give all the listeners of the show, like for the next 24 hours, like a 15% discount off our web store.
Oh, wow.
For anyone who wants to jump on and grab some gear. It's the code will be FNGO15. You just need to add it at checkout. If you didn't want to use the code, we also have a promotion going on at the moment where if you buy 3 packs of Echoes, you get a 4th one for free as well. So there's a couple of promotions there. If any of you guys are interested in supporting us, that would be fantastic. And like I said, I appreciate the show and everyone that's involved in it, from the people behind the scenes to the listeners every week. You see some familiar names and stuff coming up tonight, and it's really awesome to see. It's very humbling.
From everybody at Fish North Georgia, that was awesome, and thank you so much. What is the website exactly? I'm typing in the comment now. So what's the exact website URL?
It is castfishing.co. C-O.
All right, there we
Do you
go.
have any plans to drop new apparel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We met with our friend Ken. Runs he's awesome at clothing and has an awesome screen printer and a lot of really cool stuff. So we met with him today and checked out a lot of blanks and a lot of stuff we want to do, and that's going to be coming pretty soon.
Yeah.
So
cool. And in Australia, believe it or not, we had our apparel part of the business was bigger than our tackle part of the business for a couple of years. So it's something that I really enjoy doing, and looking forward to looking to
what that is.
So you know, they are like performance jerseys for fishing, obviously.
The one he's wearing,
sort of like the ones that we already have, but the ones that we did in Australia, I designed them myself. Like, so an oversized vented hood, like cross lap on the neck, venting from hip to wrist as well, and they're made out of a material that's actually 100% recycled polyester from water bottles that have been recovered from the waterways,
from the ocean. Like recovered plastic from the ocean.
So cool. We had them in Australia for a long time, and we're looking to bring them to it's Mark's got one actually. There's a handful of them floating around here in America from our Australian store, but we're looking to bring that over here to America as well. So we love the apparel side of the business. It's just that we've been focused so much on growing our baits here, and one step at a time. But it's definitely coming for sure.
Awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna wear my cast hat today, but it was so ratted out, I was embarrassed. I'm like, it's sun faded and sweat stained. I'm like, I won't do that to them.
Using it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's one of my favorite hats. Absolutely. Well, guys, that's pretty much all the questions from the viewers, and y'all. That was an awesome show, and the code's on the screen, guys. If you got, take it, write it down. He said, 24 hours? Or 48 hours, was it 24?
Yeah, 24, 48. Yeah, a couple of days. We'll take it down in a couple of days.
Y'all take advantage of that, because I'm telling you,
appreciate you guys.
It's worth it, and we appreciate y'all for doing that. And that's absolutely awesome. And we're gonna end it right there, because that was absolutely amazing. And I appreciate it from Danny. I know he couldn't be here tonight. He's driving back from Panama City. I really appreciate you guys being on. I know he'll appreciate it. And that's it, guys. Y'all have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Alex, Clint. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see y'all next time. See you Thursday.
See ya.